Today we are outside the shop with a very special vehicle. Not only is it special because it's a legendary 1M, this particular car belongs to our good friend Horacio from BMW Blog. He sent this car down all the way from Chicago for us to take a deep dive into the maintenance and install a rare Akrapovič titanium exhaust. In this video specifically, we're gonna take this 34,000 mile 1M onto our lift and have our technician take a look at what it needs to make it perfect. The first step is having our technician hop in, take it for a test drive to see how it feels on the road. This 1M falls in the dream car category. These are cars on posters that we dreamed of owning one day. From the classic 1600 to E30 and even Z8, our customers are now able to achieve their dream. When they do, they often want to restore the cars back to their former glory, just as if they rolled off the showroom floor. When it comes to these collector cars, everyone is looking for the lowest mileage example for the best price. But the lowest mileage doesn't mean it's problem-free. BMWs, even with low miles, can develop problems just from sitting. Oil leaks, brittle plastics, and rust are all common problems. Here at PSI, we work with our customers to create a plan to achieve their restoration goals. Now that Adam is back from the test drive, we're now going to dive into the visual inspection. Now that the 1M is up in the air and Adam has completed his look over the car, I'm gonna take you guys through a couple parts of our post-purchase inspection. And while we're under here, let's start with the back. So one of the first things we look at in the back are the exhaust and some of the components here. You'll notice that there's a Vorsteiner diffuser installed. This is an Eisenman rear muffler. All the hangers are very good. Some of the hardware under here is rusty because we did note that it is a Chicago car, it's a northern car, so that's pretty typical to have some of the exterior hardware have rust on it. Moving towards the subframe here, the subframe externally has some rust on it, has some road debris there. All these external bolts, you guys can see the rust there. Again, typical for an up north car. This is the back of the diff case here. There is a lot of fluid that is hanging out here. We know that it's coming from the input shaft on the differential. So input shaft is not something that's repairable to be fixed. It's not a seal that we can replace and just refill the diff. So actually the diff has to be replaced in order to repair that. So that's not typically good news because of the cost, but it is something that we find on E92 M3s and 1Ms, pretty typical. Now let's move over and talk about the rear suspension assembly. We'll focus on the driver's side here. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of arms, a lot of bushings that we're going to check. We're going to put some resistance here. Adam is going to check it with some tools. We're also going to visually look at some of the hardware. Again, we have surface exterior rust on some of the exposed threads, on some of the exposed hardware. There's the sway bar link here. We're going to check that. Rubber looks pretty good, even though it's dirty. We're going to look at the brake sensor lines. We're also going to look up at the shock to see if you have any seepage from the shock that shows the shocks are wearing down. We don't see that here. Spring perches and everything looks pretty good. I mean, this is a 35,000 mile car. This looks about the way it should look. There's nothing glaringly wrong, nothing really to notate back here. One of the things you'll notice right here is this is where the gas tank is. And a lot of the cars have a lot of wear here because this is a rubber line. This actually goes from the filler nozzle up there into the gas tank. This is something that definitely needs to be checked. Everything looks good with that. Continuing to the center of the car, same theme with the rust on these bolts. These clamps have a lot of rust on them. Those seem to be some probably cheap pot metal that were used there. So there's a lot of rust, really porous metal that was used. Those are gonna be replaced. One of the things we're doing on the car is we're gonna put a factory midsection here with an Akrapovič rear muffler. Continuing on to the front of the car, we're now at the transmission. This is a time that we take to look at the transmission mounts, the rubbers, which are good here. We look at the guibo, which is actually really visible. We can also check this area for some leaks from the transmission, which there is none, very dry. You also get into where these fuel lines and some of these lines are that run underneath the car, and this all needs to be checked. There's a bolt missing from here. Just all of this is a good visual inspection, but it's a good time to check. Here's one of the ground straps for the motor. And typically none of this is visible because this has the under paneling on it. So if anybody's doing inspections, you guys see people doing inspections, they're not taking the under paneling down. They're not even seeing any of the things they need to look at when they do that. Exhaust exhaust up here is again rusted. All of this hardware, when we do this exhaust work, is all gonna have to be replaced because it's just gonna literally disintegrate. Oil pan looks pretty dry from here, but it looks like it has some seepage up towards the engine. But everything is looking like a 35,000 mile car should. And we're gonna look at all of this. The steering rack is here. There's no leaks from the steering rack. We'll go lock to lock. Steering rack is one of those other things on E92 M3s and on 1Ms that goes, and it's a very costly fix to fix the steering rack. So something that we always look at and check. Pretty much the same thing goes with this, all of this suspension assembly here that we looked at in the rear. We're gonna look at all the arms, all of the ball joints, all of the bushings. We're gonna look at the brake lines, brake sensor, brake pad sensors, everything. We're gonna check out the wheels in here, make sure there's nothing stuck in the wheel, rubbing on the wheel, and also get a good look at the shocks, which again, look very good. There's no seepage. Everything's pretty dry up there. Bump stops look pretty good. Springs are not moving around. They look like they're in the right place. Sway bar links, good. Pretty much everything we expect to see in its place, nothing missing. Same goes for over here, but if you get a good look, there's a bracket. I'm not sure if you can see it from there, Dan. It's all rust, pretty much all rusted there. Pretty much another porous metal that was used that's just failing into the salt and the snow up in Chicago. One of the things we will notate is there's a lot of rust here on the steering rack, and a lot of times this gets bound up. I have a sneaking suspicion that some of that alignment stuff that Adam felt on the test drive maybe would be from this not being able to be aligned because these are bind. They look pretty much bound up there with the rust, and same here. So that's a pretty good overview while the car's in the air underneath. I'm gonna put the car down, we'll look at the engine from the top, and then I'll go through some of the common things we see on this N54 engine. Now that we have the car down on the ground with the hood open, we'll look at it from the top and see what else we can see that I couldn't see from the bottom. One of the main things is the charge pipe on these cars. This is the factory charge pipe and pretty much looks like it's seen better days. We look at these plastics, we look at the brittle nature of them. There's actually some coolant lines and some other PCV lines here that tend to break and get brittle over time. This is only a 35,000 mile car, so you're not gonna have some of these failures that we see, but a lot of the higher mileage 100,000 mile N54s, a lot of this plastic where it clips there, where it attaches here, breaks. There's some coolant lines under here that are totally plastic that also break. A lot of times on these cars, we can't really visually see something, but when we start to take some of these off and get to doing a service, maybe doing a coolant flush, you get to see some of the weak points that will be replaced. Another failure point is these expansion tanks. They actually leak in this center point here where the top mounts to the bottom, the caps leak. That's really good on this car. We haven't seen it. You typically see some white residue built up if it's had a coolant leak. It does not, looks pretty good. One of the things I did notice is that these bolts up here for the strut tower are actually stripped and they're loose, which needs to be replaced. We see that a lot, people using the wrong tool there, messing up those bolts, and that's a pretty good structure point, and that will create noise for sure up in the front suspension. Another element of our post-purchase, pre-purchase inspection is we're gonna look at the exterior. We're gonna look at some of the panel gaps. I'm gonna take you around the car and look at some of the things that we would point out to you if you send us a car before you buy it, or if you send us the car after you buy it. One of the first things we look at in the exterior are the panel gaps. And what a panel gap is the gap between a fender and the hood, a taillight and a bumper, and make sure that that looks the way it's supposed to be OEM, and to see if it matches and see if it's cohesive throughout the car. That's how we can identify whether stuff has been painted, whether stuff has been off, whether the car maybe was modified previously and then put back to stock in a quick way. And one of the things I noticed right off the bat is there's a little bit of height here in the hood. A lot of the adjustments in the hood are actually built into these little twist functions that we can actually adjust. We can lower the back a little bit to fix that. All of the other panels look really good, all the panel gaps. We also look at some of the rubber that's on the car. So you can tell kind of how the car's been taken care of based on the condition or how the car's been stored. A lot of cars that have been stored outside or spend a large majority of their time outside, a lot of these rubbers are dry, and this has really nice rubber on it. They're still soft, just like they came from the factory. Even the cowl and everything feels good, and even the rubber here that's on the trim for the 1M feels really good. As we walk around, we can talk about a little bit of the paint, stuff that we notate. There is some rock chips on the bumper that kind of encroach onto the hood here. Headlights look really good. Car's not really webbed up. Either it had a paint correction recently, or Horacio takes really good care and really knows how to wash a car because it doesn't have a lot of webbing. Overall, you can see the bumper, this gap here is correct. It's not off on one side, looks pretty consistent. This is OEM glass. It has the BMW logo right there. Pretty much this is more than likely the original windshield, or if it's not, it was replaced with the OEM glass. A lot of people don't know that when you get your windshield replaced through insurance, typically they don't bring you, when they come out to replace your windshield, OEM glass. We can actually order it from BMW, have it delivered to the shop, and have the glass company come here and do that. So that's a really good sign that it was either never replaced or the guy cared enough to have OEM glass done. And to me, that makes a difference on a car like this. Moving towards the middle of the car, we can again talk about the rubbers. These are all super soft, look really nice, look like they've been there. Panel has not been painted because you can see where it sits. There's no witness marks that it was replaced. This door gap is exactly spot on the way it should be. Trim looks like it's great intact, looks original. I think it is coming off on one of the corners up here in the front, which we noticed. Probably the clip is broken there. You know, we look at all of these things and then we report back to the customer. Some customers are gonna want a clip like that fixed regardless of the cost. This shadow line trim is a very expensive piece. It takes a lot of work to remove. It takes a lot of work to put back on as to not damage the finish of the paint. Fixing that may not be something I would recommend because of the work that's involved, but if it's important to the customer, we can go and get that taken care of. This is not an OEM style wing, but this looks to be one of the I&D offerings from the period, which has a Valencia orange on just the tip of the wing here, which is a nice sort of OEM aftermarket touch. I had noticed when we were under the car actually has a Vorsteiner rear diffuser, which they actually made a whole kit for this car back when the car was new in 2011, which is pretty cool that Horacio has this. Very subtle. I mean, you could see the car and not even notice that that's an aftermarket diffuser, which I really like. And then this has the full Eisenman race exhaust, a little bit wider tips, a little bit of a different style there. We also note the badges. Is the badge in the right place? That's one of my pet peeves when people repair a trunk and they just arbitrarily put the M badge or the M3 badge or the 550 or whatever badge it is just arbitrarily on the trunk. There's actually a whole system, a whole measuring system that comes with the badges from BMW, and it's actually in the repair instructions where to place it. So there's no excuse, it should always be in the right place. It is here. Obviously the trunk hasn't been painted. Same here, everything looks great with the panel gaps on the rear bumper, everything with the rear taillights. This glass, again, is OEM, looks perfect, as does the roof and everything else. Another kind of place we like to look is the gas door. The fact that the panel gaps and all of the gas door and everything works as it should means this area hasn't been interrupted with any bodywork. It means people are taking care when they put gas in the car. There's no nicks on this around there putting, you know, with the gas nozzle. Means the car pretty much has had a good life, good history, and people care about the car. So the final element that I want to touch on are the wheels. And that's something that's really important, especially on a car like this, is does it have original wheels? Are they correct? And are any of them damaged? And if we come down here, we can notice the first thing that I've seen actually on all the wheels is this corrosion around the center cap. And that's typically from road salt that gets into the hub there and sits and seeps out over a slow period of time, and it will eat away on the center cap. That's a super easy fix because we'll just replace the center cap, so it'll get rid of that and that'll be brand new. Another thing I'll notice is there's actually some road rash here. Looks like from curbing during parking or something like that that's been. So we can actually refinish the wheel. We have a really good wheel company that we work with that will re-powder coat the wheel, and we have a really close color to the BMW Silver, which we can also offer for Horacio on this. Now the time has come to tell you guys what really needs to be done that we've identified on this before it gets sent back to Horacio in Chicago. So this is the inspection report that Adam put together with everything that he found. And I'm basically just gonna go through everything that we've determined needs to be done work-wise. One of the first things that I mentioned when I was underneath the vehicle was the differential. Differential is actually gonna have to be changed to a new one. And for that, we go to Diffs Online. So we'll send this core out, he'll rebuild the diff and we will replace it so it doesn't leak anymore, causing it to be low on fluid and be noisy. Adam also identified an oil pan gasket leak. It has a seepage. We're gonna go ahead and do that service. I noticed it when we were on the bottom. Adam also noticed it here. Another thing that I noticed when we were here was the charge pipe. We're gonna do all the fluids. We noticed that the brake fluid is a green. This is supposed to have a yellow DOT4 fluid in it from BMW. We're gonna do a brake flush. That's something that's really important. Even if you don't have a lot of miles on the car, it absorbs water, and it can really damage the ABS control unit and some other modules that rely on the brake fluid. It's also a safety concern. When you have too much water built up in the fluid, it will not work as intended. We're also gonna do a coolant flush along with an oil change. But before we can complete the alignment, we're gonna replace the tie rods the outer tie rods, which are on the steering rack on this, which will give us a brand new thread and a brand new nut to go ahead and dial in, because that's a big part of the alignment adjustment, to make sure the steering wheel's straight, make sure the wheels are tracking where they're supposed to be. If there's no adjustment in the tie rods, you can't have a proper alignment. So that's a relatively minor list for a 35,000 mile 1M. A lot of the stuff that we've seen fail is from the car sitting a lot. He got pretty lucky, but on the next video, we're gonna go ahead and install the Akrapovič titanium exhaust with the stock OEM mid-pipe. We're gonna be completing these repairs, and we're gonna have some more talk about the N54 platform in general. Hope you guys enjoyed this content, and we'll see you in the next video in the series.